Charlie Kirk, Ntoyo Village. Many of you have probably already been bombarded with a lot of news reports about Charlie Kirk's tragic murder in the US. But then when I said Ntoyo Village, many of you probably had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. Yet, 3 days ago, on the night of Monday, 8th September, just one night after Sunday, 7th September, that night when we were all treated to that spectacle, the blood lunar eclipse. One night after that, in Eastern Congo, North Kivu, Ntoyo village, dozens and dozens of mourners were gathered at a funeral vigil, night vigil. They were there to mourn a loved one who had tragically passed on. And yet, many of them didn't know that in a few short bloody hours, their own funerals would be organized. Their own funerals would be the talk of town. Because on that night, the ADF terrorist rebel group in Eastern Congo pounced on that village and took out, eliminated 100 Congolese in that village using machetes. Do you have any idea how completely torturous and painful and traumatic and unimaginable dying by machete is? That's what befell those 100 innocent civilians in Congo. Now, I know that a lot of people watching this from the West would silently or even loudly go, well, what do you want us to do if you Africans keep killing each other? But I want to remind you one thing. This particular group, ADF, the one responsible for these untimely tragic demises of these innocent civilians, that particular group is a branch of the Islamic State. If you didn't know it, the Islamic State is rooted partly in Western hegemony. Look at the origins of the Islamic State, and you will see that not too far behind was the Western hegemony that then fueled and drove that particular group. There would be no Islamic State in Africa today if there was no Western hegemony 10, 15, 20 years ago. So no, it is not about Africans slaughtering each other. It is about this global context of utter hatred that has been created by that Western hegemony. Once you understand that, you then begin to understand why the tragic murder of a 31-year-old American conservative known as Charlie Kirk would garner crazy amounts of mainstream media attention, social media attention, but the tragic murders, the tragic eliminations of 100 innocent civilians in Congo barely gets a mention. Barely. Now, understand this. Now you know about Ntoyo village. But there are dozens, if not hundreds of other villages dotting Congo, dotting Sudan, dotting the Sahel region that are going through similar tragic assassinations, similar tragic eliminations on an almost daily basis. But you don't hear about it because that no longer matters to most of mainstream media. But you know what? We're not powerless. We are going to continue shining a spotlight on this because remember, Where your attention is, your energy is. And so we need the world to be energized, especially Africa, especially Friends of Africa, to be re-energized in focusing on the root causes of these conflicts in Africa and the solutions to those. Not treating the symptoms, but rooting them out. In the case of this attack in Toyo village, North Kivu, Eastern Congo, we must address these jihadists who are wreaking havoc in that part of the world. We do not have the luxury of only addressing one rebel group. We are going to address M23, but in the same vein, we're going to address ADF and all those other groups, because none of them should be wreaking havoc, taking out the lives of innocent people in that great country. We are Africans, and we have the African superpower. So we will not cower. We will not remain victims. We are going to find solutions to all this, and peace will prevail in Congo, in Sudan, in the Sahel region, one way or another. So help us, God.